You type in a web address, you hit enter, and poof, a website just appears on your screen. We all do it dozens of times a day, but what's really going on in that split second? In this explainer, we're going to go on that lightning-fast journey your browser takes every single time you click.
Yeah, it feels super simple, right? But behind that one little press of the enter key, there's this whole hidden chain of events. So let's actually map out that journey step by step. Okay, let's dive right in. To really follow this whole journey, we first got to understand two things: the language the internet speaks and the map it uses to get around. All right, first up, the language. It's called HTTP, or Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Think of it like the official rulebook for how your browser, which we call the client, can talk to a web server. It defines everything from how to say hello to how to ask for a specific web page and how the server should package up all that information to send it back to you. Now you've probably seen its more secure sibling, HTTPS, right? That S stands for secure. And for our journey today, the main difference is the door they use. So picture a server like this giant building with thousands of numbered doors, and we call those doors ports. Regular old HTTP traffic, it usually knocks on port 80. But the secure encrypted HTTPS stuff, that goes through the much more locked down port 443. All right, so we've got the language down. Now for the map, the URL. And I have to admit, just like the author of our source material, I totally used to think it stood for Universal Resource Locator. I mean, it just sounds right, doesn't it? But nope, it's actually Uniform Resource Locator. And that resource part is key. It's the exact thing your browser is trying to find. And that web address you type in, it's not just some random name. It's a super detailed set of instructions. You know how a postal address has a city, a street, and a house number? Well, a URL is just like that. It has all these distinct parts, the host, the path, the port, that tell the browser exactly where to go and exactly what to get. Let's break it down. Yeah, every single piece has a job to do. The host, that's the main website, like google.com. The path is the specific page you want, like /images. But what about that query string? You ever see the part of a URL after a question mark, like $Q equals cats? That's it. It's giving the server extra information for your request. In this case, it's literally telling Google you're searching for cats. Pretty cool how all these parts work together to get you exactly what you asked for.
Okay, so now that we have our language and our map, it's time for the main event. We are going to follow a single click from your keyboard all the way to a web server and all the way back again. Now, this might sound like it's going to be super complicated, but I really love this quote from our source. The author found this elegant simplicity in the process, and honestly, I think you will too. It really just boils down to 3 main steps.
Yep, the entire journey boils down to just these 3 things. First, there's the lookup. Your browser has to find the server's actual numerical address. Second, the request. It sends out a formal message asking for the site. And third, the response. The server grabs the website, packages it up, and sends it right back. That's it. That is the core loop of the web. So let's kick things off with step 1, the DNS lookup. See, your browser knows the domain name you typed, but computers, they talk in numbers, these things called IP addresses. So your browser has to ask a special server, the DNS, or domain name system, which is basically the internet's giant phone book. It just asks, hey, what's the number for this website? And the DNS server shoots back the correct IP address. Okay, once it has that IP address, the real conversation can start. Your browser sends a formal HTTP request. The server gets it, finds the webpage data you're asking for, and then sends it all back in an HTTP response. And that simple back and forth, that request and response, that is what is happening millions and millions of times a second all across the entire internet. But wait a second. We've just laid out this nice, clean 3-step process. What if I told you there's a hidden step? A secret little shortcut your computer takes before any of that other stuff even happens. I mean, think about it. That DNS lookup is the first time you're really going out onto the internet to ask for directions. But what if your computer could find the address without ever having to ask? The answer is this little-known file hiding on your own computer. And our source material uses the absolute perfect analogy for it. You can think of it as your machine's private cheat sheet. This cheat sheet is called the hosts file. And here's the kicker. Before your computer ever bothers a DNS server, it checks this simple little text file first. If it finds the website name you typed listed right there with an IP address next to it, boom, it just uses that one. It completely skips the whole external DNS lookup and sends the request directly there. No questions asked. Pretty sneaky, right? So as we bring this whole journey to a close, let's just zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. This process that powers our entire connected world might seem crazy complex, but at its heart, it's actually built on a really, really simple idea.
It really all comes down to this: an elegant round trip. Your browser makes a request, and a server provides a response. That's it. That simple, powerful dialogue is the fundamental building block of the entire World Wide Web.
And that leaves us with one final and pretty crucial thought. We've just seen that your computer uses a map to find websites, whether that's the big public DNS phone book or its own little private cheat sheet. So, what happens if a hacker gets control of that map? If they could change the address in the book, where could they send your browser instead? That's definitely something to think about.